we're back for another session of As A.B.A.T.E Turns. How you doing? My name's Dan Harper, and I'm a member of the Chicago chapter of A.B.A.T.E, Illinois. Introduce yourself.
I'm Diane Shapiro. I am also a member of A.B.A.T.E.
No, you give them your title.
I am the Director of Safety and Education, and I go into the schools and talk about road safety and about how to share the road with other people. And Dan and I have done a couple of classes together, Pat and a few of us, and it's always a great time. Everybody's encouraged to get involved. Please. We are a family, and it's really important, especially nowadays, to stick together because we got a lot of legislation that Dan's going to be talking about. But suffice it to say, for me, I try to get people to save lives and to look out for motorcycles, and when they're in their car, to look out not only for motorcycles, but to also be careful following the rules of the road. And take it away, Dan.
That was, yeah, that's...
$25.
Shut my phone off. That was Pat, who's still pissed about his car and passed out, so... Okay. The mission of A.B.A.T.E of Illinois. A.B.A.T.E of Illinois is a brotherhood aimed towards education. It's organized for charitable and educational, civic, benevolent, social, and athletic purposes, including such purposes as the promotion of motorcycle use, acceptance, safety, and enjoyment. Said proposals include promoting of motorcycle interests to the corporation members and affiliates. Such corporation is organized to undertake such interactions, including lobbying and litigation support with various governmental bodies as may be necessary or desirable to promote the motorcycling interests of the corporation's members and affiliates. So says the legalese at the beginning of our bylaws. But what does that mean? The bottom line is A.B.A.T.E of Illinois is a motorcycle rights organization. Yes, we do charitable work. What better way to promote motorcycling with a positive image of motorcycles to the rest of the world? Yes, we educate. We educate our members on the merits of taking the motorcycle safety training course offered by A.B.A.T.E. We educate everyone who will listen to be aware of motorcycles, both through individual effort and through our safety and education program. We also educate legislatures that laws which discriminate against motorcycles and motorcycling are unacceptable. On the civic level, we encourage all A.B.A.T.E of Illinois, Inc. members to not only be registered voters, but to be active voters. We also believe that all citizens should be active in their communities. So that's the new mission statement of A.B.A.T.E of Illinois that you can't get on our membership applications, but that's actually off of our website. A.B.A.T.E of Illinois has always got kind of a bum rap that we're the helmet guys. And to be honest, if you ride a motorcycle, I personally don't care whether you wear a helmet or not. But it's not only about helmets. Part of that feeling is it's let those who actually ride decide. Meaning you're an adult. You should know what you have to do to take care of yourself. But I guess the problem is, and I know you guys have been talking about it the last couple of weeks, by the way, besides just being a member of the Chicago chapter, I am the state legislative coordinator for A.B.A.T.E of Illinois. I'm in charge of the political action arm of A.B.A.T.E of Illinois. We have a paid lobbyist down there, and I'm also a registered lobbyist down there talking to state representatives, state senators, treasurers, comptrollers, governors, lieutenant governors about motorcycling. So it's not just about helmets. One of the pieces of legislation we got passed in the last couple of years was the fact that out in the suburbs and that if you come to a red light where your it has a pressure plate and your motorcycle cannot trip that pressure plate, you're sitting there at a red light for hours and hours and hours unless a car comes along to trip the plate. We passed a law, I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago, that as long as you come to a stop, the light does not change for 120 seconds, and you may proceed and use that as a stop sign. That is not, the city of Chicago, though, is optioned out of that. That being that all the streetlights in the city of Chicago are timed. Yeah, you may get some of the arrows where you may not get a left turn arrow because it doesn't recognize your motorcycle being there, but you can still make a left turn on a green. Again, you would stop, wait your 120 seconds, make sure nobody's coming, and proceed in a safe manner.
I have the cards that I often pass out
Right.
in the classes, so.
Right. And what the card is, and here, I can actually tell you, it was effective January 1st, 2012. It's Public Act 970627, Section 5 of the Illinois Vehicle Code is amended, changing sections 11.208.6 and 11.306 as follows. And basically, it's what I told you. You can proceed. But what we have facing us right now is, and it's not just motorcycles, it's not just sport bikes, it's cars, especially older cars. There is a bill in the House right now. It's House Bill, otherwise known as HB 2402. That's how you can look it up at the Illinois General Assembly website. Basically, it amends it so that a car weighing no more than 10,000 pounds with a noise level intensity at a distance of 50 feet from the center line of the lane of travel exceeds 76 decibels. A motorcycle cannot exceed 82 decibels. Did you guys have the decibel meters in here?
No, Pat was going to, unfortunately, Pat is unable to be here tonight. He has, I know Oscar, I think, brought a decibel meter.
But it's out in his car.
Yeah.
I brought one, it's sitting on my motorcycle.
But we're going to have a couple at the Spring Fling.
Yeah, well, we're actually going to have a couple at our awareness run. But what I need everybody out there to do, and let's go to, this is State Representative Christian L. Mitchell. He is the sponsor of HB 2402. His district office is at 449 East 35th Street, and his Springfield office, and the phone number is 217-782-2023. His office, district office is 773-924-1755. He's not a bad guy, but part of his district borders Lakeshore Drive. It kind of takes in, from looking at the map, the Rush Street area. Now, we've always had problems down there with sound. Bert Nateris, if you're still out there, give us a call. Bert was an alderman in the city of Chicago that went ahead and was always complaining. He drove a little red sports car with Fast and the Furious mufflers on there, but he was always complaining about motorcycles, that they were too loud. I want to say, and Vince, if you're listening, you might help me out, but it was probably about 10 years ago, maybe longer, because Bert hasn't been alderman for a while, where the Chicago Police Department went and got decibel meters, went down to the Rush Street Triangle there, where Rush, State Street, yeah, I think it's Rush and State, and meet with at Oak Street. There's that little triangle there by the Newberry Plaza. There's a bunch of restaurants and stuff down there. And what they did was they started checking motorcycles. They were going to write tickets for sound violations if your motorcycle was over a certain decibel limit. They did not write one ticket for a sound violation. They wrote a couple tickets for not having the sticker on your plate, not having an M class on your license, not having proof of insurance for your motorcycle. And that's part of the problem, is we feel that with this, they're going to start targeting motorcycles. The original bill, before it was amended, was just for motorcycles. But because we were saying, you know, it's that there are some cars out there, and you guys know who you are, that the muffler on your car is louder than the muffler on my motorcycle. So I'm sorry, but he went back then and changed it with the cars. One of the things I didn't check in there was the problem being he wants to limit the sound level on a siren of an emergency vehicle to 100 decibels. Now, back last year, before a certain team won the World Series, we had a town hall meeting with Alderman Thomas Tunney, Alderman James Kappelman, members of, and help me, Diane, do you know what district
Sarah
that is? No,
Feigenholz.
what district is that? She was not there.
44th Ward
No,
is
what
Tunney.
police district?
Oh,
What-
it was 1921, whatever the combined
Okay.
is on Halsted.
Okay,
Used to be 19, and 19 was on Belmont and Western,
okay,
and 23 was Town Hall, so I think it's the combined 19 now.
okay. Which is at the corner of basically Halsted and
Addison.
Ashland. Or Addison, yes, sorry. And we had information there with residents. There were representatives from Representative Feigenholz. There were representatives from U.S. Representative Mike Quigley, and people in the neighborhood. And people were not happy that lived on Lakeshore Drive. It wasn't so much the sound, but they said the sound was part of it, but the fact that there were motorcycles and cars racing up and down Lakeshore Drive. We said that becomes an enforcement issue. The Chicago police officer that was there said two things that probably shocked everybody there. One, they didn't have any cars patrolling Lakeshore Drive. And then the other one is, and all you guys out here in the city of Chicago, the Chicago Police Department does not pursue people. They'll start coming after you, but if you run 9 times out of 10, especially for traffic, it gets broken. The supervisor says break it off. Now that's cars, motorcycles, anything. This law would make it, and originally he wanted to just make it for the city of Chicago. So, guys, that tells us they're targeting motorcycles. Motorcycles on Lakeshore Drive, motorcycles in the city of Chicago. I do have a decibel meter. Everybody get a pen and paper, because I'm going to tell you something in a couple of minutes, and I want you to write it down. So we'll do the do. But so that's what they're doing, but this law would actually be a state law. It would affect everybody in the suburbs. It would affect everybody downstate. Now, what I've been doing is I've been going to people with stock motorcycles, been going with people that have some aftermarket motorcycles, people that have, Harley Davidson offers this big Screaming Eagle package. And that actually makes your engine run a little bit faster, so you have a little bit more reverberation in your motorcycle to give it that Harley Davidson sound. And I've been going to sport bikes. Probably the motorcycles that are stock are all right until you're in it. And the problem is, it says 50 feet. But what they did last time was they went right back to the back of the bike, took the decibel meter, put it right to your tailpipe, and got a reading that way. And if you do that, 99% of all motorcycles are going to be over that. If you do that with a car, 75 to 80% of cars. Brand new cars, no. But everybody knows as your car gets older, you do get a little bit more reverberation out of the back. That's kind of a fact of life. Unless you replace your muffler, every 10,000 miles. So Midas Muffler and that are probably going to support this law. One of the other things with it is it's going to make it where every police officer, and that was one of the questions, is are you going to mandate it that police officers have to have decibel meters with them? Now, the representative said no. Well, then why even create a law if you're not going to enforce it all the time? If you're not going to enforce it all the time, that means you're going to be targeting somebody. Guess who we think they're targeting? Diane, who do you think?
Motorcyclists, as always, just like they did with most everything else.
Right.
Figuring that people aren't going to fight back, they're going to fold.
Right. So, what can you do? You can call your state representative. Basically, if you go to the Illinois website, Illinois General Assembly website, which is www.ilga.gov/house/reps. That should take you to it. If you don't get there right there, but at the top, here, I'm reading it, why don't I show you? Up, oh, of course I don't get a pointer. Up here at the top, you see Home, Legislation and Laws, Senate, House. Well, if you click on House, oh, I do have a pointer, and then go to Members, that comes up to all the members. So, yeah, you do have to figure out who your member is, but if you
They're generally on the
look at
voter
them,
registration cards.
and if you look, then you can go to, say, Sarah Feigenholtz and find out her phone number and basically tell her to leave motorcycles alone. And to vote no on 2402, HB 2402. Now, one of the things we did do, speaking of Representative Feigenholtz, let me throw her back up there for a minute. She had a piece of legislation that we let out of committee to allow the city of Chicago to put up devices on Lakeshore Drive to collect sound data. Now, you're probably asking, why would we let them? Well, the point is, in A.B.A.T.E of Illinois, we don't condone illegal behavior. It's similar to the stuff they put out by O'Hare to get a reading on the sound levels. And the people that live there have a right to, even though they knew they were moving in next to a highway, US 41, there can be limits or whatever. The reason we want them to collect the data is we don't believe the data of their sound is going to be motorcycles. It'll be part of it, but a lot of it's going to be car traffic. I mean, if you're at Halsted and Belmont, or Halsted and Addison, you're going to get a lot of noise from trains. Some baseball park that's over there.
Well, it's Central and Devon, you got the trains going
Right.
all day long. Ding, ding, ding.
And then you have, if they're only targeting Lakeshore Drive, well, does that mean you're going to close down Lollapalooza? That's a lot of noise. Are you going to close down Soldier Field? Are you going to close down Northerly Island? They wanted to make Belmont, the park at Belmont, on the lakefront, they wanted to make that a concert venue. So guess what? There'd be a lot more noise from that than cars and motorcycles. And so that's kind of where we stand. Now, if you have a motorcycle and are interested in finding out where you sit on the decibel thing, April 30th, Sunday, is the Chicago chapter of A.B.A.T.E of Illinois' Dave Dogkiller White awareness run. Have you got flyers or no?
I don't have any flyers, but
Okay.
I have on the
Okay, so that is coming up,
meeting at Llama,
right?
destination to be
Right.
determined.
Do you have? We need the address on Lama.
3519 West Fullerton.
Okay, 3519 West Fullerton. What time are we meeting?
Okay, meeting at Llama, Chicago headquarters, 3519 West Fullerton. 8:30 is meeting, awards at 9, kickstands up at 10.
Okay.
And the destination, well, that's a secret
That's
as
still,
usual.
That's still to be determined. So if you come out there, we will have decibel meters. We will be able to give you an idea of if you are legal or if your bike is going to be illegal. And getting back to that, that was one of the problems, was every sport bike I've checked, even with stock pipes, are over that decibel limit of, I should know that by heart, of 82 decibels. So, and like I said, if you have one of the little Fast and Furious cars, if you're over 76 decibels, we've actually sat out on the corner of Harlem and Addison, and with the decibel meter, checking cars and bikes as they've gone by. Some are all right, and again, it all depends how close who's ever got the decibel meter is. Now, again, if they're going to target you, they're going to get as close to you as they can and go ahead and do it. So, please call your state representative and ask them to vote no on HB 2402. That's the easiest way to stop it right now. Funny thing that happened was it went to Transportation, Vehicles, and Safety Committee. And what happened was it got out of committee with a 5-4 vote. The problem was, and I got this from the minority spokesperson, was that a couple people that are big A.B.A.T.E supporters were changed out of that committee. And supposedly they had voted on it twice. Oh, okay. Because, yeah, here it's, and I'm looking here. It was originally adopted by a voice vote. Then they went to do the motion by members present, and it came out to be 4-4. They did that again And so it actually failed twice. Well, and what happened was, they went again the next day and recalled it, moved a couple people out of the committee that were ABATE supporters, and turned around and got a 5-4 vote out of it. So, Christian Mitchell, nice guy. Great guy. He says he wants to get a motorcycle. I think he's doing this because he's getting pressure from people in the city of Chicago to do this. There were, what would Pat would call it, shenanigans. So there were shenanigans.
No, shenanigans in Illinois?
Yeah. So right now it is sitting on the calendar for a second reading with a short debate. It has to go for a third reading. But if you guys get on the phone, call your state representatives and ask them to vote no on House Bill HB 2402. Let me make sure I got the right one. Yep, HB 2402. Come out to the awareness run. If you're not doing anything May 7th and you want to go for a motorcycle ride, you can actually leave on the 6th and spend the night in Springfield. Because there are going to be a couple parties on May 6th. May 7th is the A.B.A.T.E of Illinois Motorcycle Awareness Run from the A.B.A.T.E building on Dirksen Parkway to the state capitol. It's a escorted ride from the Dirksen building to the state capitol, where you get to hear some people do speeches, various legislators. I believe one of them is a Chicago A.B.A.T.E member.
Our governor?
I believe it's the governor. He hasn't gotten back to me yet exactly, but I believe he will. And I think we're gonna, boy, that
Tomorrow
went
night's,
fast.
the meeting is tomorrow
Oh, yeah.
night.
Go ahead.
Tomorrow night is a meeting at the brewery, 3848 North Harlem. And
Close
it's-
enough.
Close enough, 3840. It's in just Harlem, just south of Irving, on the
And what time does that start?
at 7:30. And there's a lot of other stuff coming up.
And
Spring
if you
Fling
come out
and-
there, Oscar will be there with his decibel meter.
Yep.
And you can get your bike checked out there.
Yeah.
Sport
Have a
bike
beer,
riders,
have a
you guys
drink.
say we never do anything for you. We're trying to protect your motorcycles. So, again, thank you all, and we're out of here.